Hey Tui, welcome to day 8. Going to read today The Gardener's Maze. Mazes are really great things if you've got a maze book or making a maze. They're really good in helping you with your mathematical development because it requires some really good problem solving, which not only works for maths but lots of different things. Puzzles are awesome things for your brain. The Gardener's Maze by Dot Mahari, illustrated by Ellie Teo. The Gardener's Maze. One wet day, the gardener looked at his gardening book. He saw trees and flowers, he saw fences and hedges. He saw a maze. I like that maze, he said. I will make a maze too. The gardener sat at his table. He made a plan for his maze. He made a list of all the things he needed. Things I need. Tape measure, there. String, there. Spade, pegs, hedge plants. The next day, the gardener went into his garden. He looked at his plan. He got his tape measure and measured the rows. He put in the pegs for the corners. He tied string to the pegs to make the rows straight. A truck came with lots of small hedge plants. The gardener planted the small hedge plants along the rows. Day after day, the gardener watered the hedge plants. The hedges grew and grew. The gardener clipped the hedges and they grew some more. They grew straight and tall. He clipped and clipped and clipped. At last the maze was ready. The gardener went into his maze. Around and around he went. Around and around and around. He was in his maze for a long time. Help! Cried the gardener. I'm lost! Get me out of here! How will the gardener get out of this maze? So if you push pause now, you'll be able to get the gardener and take him on a walk and see if you can get him out. Right. The thing that I want you to have a look at, and it's not on every single page, but one of the reasons I really like this story is because on most of the pages there is a little visitor or a helper who's on most of the pages. So as we flip through the story, we can look. Now obviously hedgehogs like to live outside, so we're assuming that he possibly isn't in here and he possibly isn't in the book. Still inside. But look, we're outside and here is his little helper. Wonder when you were listening to the story whether you spotted that the hedgehog was the gardener's little helper. I wonder if that's true, if you were to find out about what hedgehogs do, whether it's true. Are hedgehogs really good helpers for gardeners? Perhaps that's something you could go and find out about. There's some very funny ones. I don't think he went in the maze though. Here we are at our poem. Just a reminder before we start, remember that I have loaded all of these poems onto our Seesaw page, as in the audio where they've been sung along to the tape deck. So feel free to scroll back and find the songs that match the poems. Inky Mouse. As a little white mouse crept into her house, her tail tipped over the ink. She squeaked as the wet ink leaked, and she scurried off in a wink. Now remember, the action for this one is a little bit different to what we're used to, and that is where we take our fingers and we stick them by our nose. Can't see me. And we pretend to be wiping the ink from our nose. Inky Mouse. Okay, if you were paying attention, you would have noticed that our sound today is something I'd like you to think about is that we've now watched 8 sounds together. And next week on Wednesday, when school comes back, then what we'll be looking at is taking those 8 sounds and can we turn them into words. So sliding the sounds together, using our phoneme fingers perhaps to work out what the sounds are in words. So it might be that I will give you the word cat, and you'll get your phoneme fingers and you will go k, at, cat. So we've got a k, we've got an a, we've got a t. Right, so have to say it was quite tricky finding some Winnie the Poohs that start with because lots of what we've noticed coming through the sounds that we've got so far is that sometimes a sound makes more than one, well sometimes a letter makes more than one sound. So what I've done is I've been a little bit crazy, and really all of my Winnie the Poohs are pretty much exactly the same in that they are all dressed up as insects. So we have a blue insect, a grey insect, a gold insect, and a silver insect. Insect. Now, because is pretty simplistic in how it's made, I thought that I would take it a little bit further and I would show you how is written when we have our lines. So in our books we have 2 solid lines and often we have dotted lines, okay? So is the same as the other letters where we start at the top and we come down. So it's down, dot, down, dot, down, dot, One thing you'll notice is, that's not very good. I haven't gone all the way to the line. I've got a little bit of a gap. Right, your turn. Make the sound. So down, dot, down, dot, incredible.